Hey there, YouTubers. How you doing today? Thought I'd bring you another edition of do-it-yourself type Kydex stuff. Anyway, glad to be with you today. Actually, at my age, I'm glad to be anywhere. What we're going to look at today is just kind of going to be some bits and pieces of some things. The other day, when I was recording on my first video, I gave John over at Philly EDC a shout out for all of his stuff, and I mentioned that there were some others that I had forgotten about. Well, one of them is SWFL Holsters. He's on YouTube, and he does the clay plugs, and I've kind of been trying to do those. I don't know if you can see the extension on that cylinder, on that little gun or not, but just kind of to help the Kydex not form so tight around the cylinder at the end there. Another good one is Old Faithful Holsters. He does a wooden cutout so that you can sink your Kydex and your weapon down in and get a perfect fit just about every time. And then, of course, for those of you who've been watching Kydex on YouTube, you'll know about Gavku. He mainly does knives, but just kind of in general Kydex channel. He does a real good job of showing you how to heat it and mold it and stuff. Well, today I've got kind of a little project that I'm doing, and it's for the North American Arms Earl. This is the weapon. You can kind of see it. And what I've already done is I've already heat formed the Kydex around it. And so I've got the start. This is going to be a cross draw holster. I've never done one before, and so it'll be kind of new. Now this is kind of what I was talking about right here. I don't know if you can see that lip or not. See how it folds down over the cylinder? That's one of the issues you run into when you have a revolver versus a pistol. The pistols, of course, being the automatic in variety, and they don't do the wrap around and fold over. But anyway, this is kind of the general design, and hopefully when I get done with it, it'll go on the belt like this and be a cross draw type holster. But today what I thought I'd look at is maybe try to assemble this while we're online here. What I'm going to use to begin with for this one is the Kel-Tec or just the mini Tech Lock belt fastener. I'm sure you've probably seen those online or somewhere. They're a pretty good belt fastener. I like them. This one's for the 1.5" belt. So I'm thinking about mounting it there, or maybe here, to grip onto the belt when I put that on there for the fast draw. You know, might be able to even put that up here for a higher draw or lower carry on the holster. Anyway, I'm not going to show you everything step by step because pretty much you have to have the tools, you have to have the time, and you kind of have to have some ingenuity. And so I'm gonna make some marks here on this. Then I'm going to cut it out, and then we'll just go from there. We'll pick up we'll just pick up from there on the video. Okay, while you were gone relaxing, I did some sketching a little bit, if you can see that, on the Kydex there where I want to cut it. So I'm going to use my straight edge marker that I made, and that also came from the SWFL Holsters. It was his idea. Anyway, I've made some marks on here. So I'm going to try and line them up, taking into consideration I'm using a pretty thick piece of pencil lead there. Mark through there. I'm going to kind of freehand this part. Come down around the end of the gun. Back up. So I'm going to mount that. That'll be mounted on the bottom. We're not going to mess with that top drawing. We're just going to go with the tech lock down here. I think that way it'll ride pretty good, I think, at that point. So I'm going to do some cutting on with the scroll saw, and then we'll do some cutting on this one, on the other half, and we'll get back with you and see what's going on. Well, there's the first whack at scroll sawing. Came out with that shape right there. And doesn't look too awful bad. Kind of bulky, but then you got to remember this is kind of a specialized thing. So now what I'll do is I'll take my trusty rusty pencil and just kind of trace around this. Make some kind of chicken scratches there. And kind of see if we can cut out that other piece. See if anything came out. Oh yeah. And I was worried. Alright, well, we shall return in just a second or two. See if I can get that piece cut out. Alright, well, as you can see, got it cut out. One side is a little bigger, but we're not going to worry about that because that's what they invented belt sanders to do, is take off all that extra stuff. You'll see on there, on the Kydex, you'll see this gnarly stuff sticking up. And everybody who does any videos about Kydex, they get all excited about that stuff. You got to cut it off with a knife, or you got to do whatever. But I'll tell you what, you want to take it off with the belt sander first, because the belt sander works miracles. Unless you get carried away, and then of course it not only takes up your Kydex, but it takes off your fingernails, which is not a good thing. So we're gonna do a little sanding, do a little straightening, and then we'll come back and we'll see what the next level is. Well, we're back, and this is what I've got so far. Kind of hit that with the belt sander, and did some little touch-up scroll work on it. Got it looking not too bad. What we'll do now is we'll come in here and we'll reheat this, pull that out of there, so that the gun will, of course, slip in and slip out of there just fine. And then we'll go around and use the sandpaper and maybe even show you. I do, if I still got some gnarlies on, I'll use a razor edge, and I'll go around and take those off. Then when you do your regular sanding, you've already got some of that edge off there, because when you sand, you're going to put an edge back on it. So you have to do that a couple times. You'll notice I've set a couple of rivets. I like to set a couple of rivets while I'm working on stuff, just so it stays put. I know a couple of the other guys use little clamps that go on, I don't have good luck with those. They fall apart on me. And this, you know, you look at this and you go, well, that's sticking out there quite a ways. And this may not be the final shape down here. It could be a little different. Up here, we've got kind of a, what will be a sweat guard up against you. But I think we're starting to look kind of like a cross-draw holster a little bit. Anyway, I'll be back with you in just a little bit for some more. Okay, we've got the holster put together. I sunk a couple more rivets in it to kind of help me get things going. Now, this is one of the things that happens with Kydex when you're working with it. Everything fits really good until you start riveting it together. And then nothing fits anywhere. You'll notice that that wants to hang up. I'll probably take this off the pistol here in just a second. I put that on there with a piece of blue tape, little dowel rod. Don't know if you can see that there or not. So it would give me a little extra because there's a sight right there. In fact, let's go ahead and take that off. And you can see why I did that. Some guns, the sighting, I know I just got done making a holster for a friend of mine for a Browning 9mm, and he had a heck of a ramp sight on the front of that. Okay, you see that little stick-up sight right there? Well, if you didn't have a trough or something in your Kydex, that would never ever fit in a million years. Now, it still may not. I may have to go in there and relax it, which I think I'm going to have to. Because I got a little bind up right about here on the Kydex. But once it goes in, then I'm not too bad. But then I got to fight with it to get it down in there. So I'm going to go in there and relax that with a heat gun and see if I can get that to fit down in there a little bit and see what's going on. Let's see. I may do this one on camera. Let's take a look and see if we can relax it. First, I'm going to relax the backside. You'll find when working with Kydex, the backside shows less. I don't know how that works out, but it just does. Anyway, what I'm going to relax first is this little area right here, so that the cylinder on the gun will go in there just fine. And I'm just going to relax that with my finger a little bit. We'll get to putting the gun in there in just a couple of minutes after we relax that backside. But this is the kind of things you got to do with Kydex. You kind of have to get in there and do it for it because it doesn't know how to do it. Anyway, let's go ahead and relax this backside a little bit. Backside relaxing. Now you'll see the weapon went right in there. Relaxed around it. Kind of hold on to that for a minute or two until we get the Kydex to stiffen up just a little bit. You'll see how the backside now has not got quite as much definition in here, but she slid right in. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for slide in, slide out, just like that. Also around this area here, you're going to have some gapping, and you want that, unless you're going to put an adjustment screw in here to tighten it or loosen it. I've seen some guys do that. I'm still going to have to relax that a little bit more, but at least it's getting the idea now. Anyway, I'll go ahead and work on that for a couple of seconds and let you take a miniature break. Alright, well, I've been working on this a little bit. Set a couple more rivets, as you can see. Gonna set a couple of smaller ones down in here, but now I should mention this is what's called the Gunslinger. I didn't say you were going to win the fast draw contest, because you're not. Kydex by nature is sticky, and it grabs on to whatever your weapon is, whether it's a knife or a gun, and it holds it. Now, about the only thing you can do is, like I've done on the back side here, is I've relieved it quite a bit down in there. The front side still shows pretty good definition on it. And then once we get that mounted, it'll sit like this on your belt and come out of there. May have to do a little more relieving, but right in this area here, there's been some trouble right around that. I don't know if you can see it or not, right in there, right around that trigger. Give me a little bind in there. But for all intents and purposes, we're pretty much getting there. Now I've got to wait for a day or so. I've got a new punch coming, or a new eyelet press coming for the smaller eyelets. I'm going to put a couple of smaller ones right down in here. I got a little gap right there. I'm going to try and seal that. But anyway, that's what it's looking like so far, and we'll talk with you later.